Good morning, children. Today is the 9th video class, and the chapter I am dealing with is Respiratory System, chapter 5. Now here on this board is drawn a model to show the mechanism of breathing. So this is a model to show the mechanism of breathing. Now how do you breathe? With the help of the nostrils, and the air through the air passages will go into the lungs. And surrounding the lungs is what? The rib cage. So in this model, there is only one plastic bottle which you take. So you have to take a plastic bottle. Now there are two figures over here made. Okay, two diagrams are made over here, this side and that side. But it represents only one bottle. Okay, there are two conditions, but representation is only of one bottle. That is, this bottle, you have to take a plastic bottle. Okay, and this plastic bottle represents the rib cage. Okay, so this is the plastic bottle, it represents the rib cage, and here inside it you have to fit in a wide tube. Now you can get it from several sources. You can also use the broken stethoscope which you are not using anymore. So those who are having relatives of doctors, etc. So that wide tube, iron tube also will do, or glass pipe will also work. So you will take a wide tube, and you have to put two deflated balloons on the forked ends of the wide tube. You have to put two balloons which are not blown. So you have to fit them here like this, and the lower portion will be free. That is, it is open, it is cut, it is open. And in the lower portion, what you do, you have to fit in a thin rubber sheet. You can take from a big balloon. Okay, the thin sheet of the big balloon also you can take, and you can place it here. But before that, you have to fit this inside it, and inside the bottle, and you have to place this here right to the cap, and this should become airtight. Okay, right on top then you have to fit this here, and it will become airtight. You can put wax, you can also put modeling clay you have for playing, etc. So that also you can use, and you can put it here and jam it up, close it up, pack it up properly, or wax also you can put, and this will become airtight. So first you take the bottle, you cut the lower end, then you take the wide tube, then you put the balloons, and then you fit it from below right till the top. Then you put the cap it up, then you wax it up, okay, make it airtight, and then you fit this rubber sheet from below. And at the sides you can tie it up, or you can put a nice rubber band, a tight rubber band. Okay, so this is what you have to prepare for learning the mechanism of breathing. So this is the diaphragm. This rubber sheet represents the diaphragm, and these balloons, they represent what? Your lungs. And this represents your bronchus, and this is the bronchus, and the bronchi, these are the bronchi, and on top is the trachea. Now we come to the mechanism of breathing. So what happens? Now if you pull this, the rubber base, if you pull this from below, okay, when you pull it from below, what will happen? The volume increases. Over here, the volume will increase. This comes down and the volume is increased. So what happens that the air pressure inside this, the air pressure decreases. Have you understood? Volume increases, air density decreases, air pressure inside it decreases. Now the air pressure outside your rib cage or outside this bottle is much more than inside it, because you have pulled this and a larger volume, larger space has been made, and the air pressure decreases. And because the air pressure decreases, what will happen? Because the air pressure outside is much more than inside, then air from outside, it will move from here inside, and the balloons will get inflated. Immediately the balloons will swell up. The moment you pull this, the balloons will swell up. So this represents inhalation. When we inhale air. Okay. Now it is the same, this bottle, same bottle. You don't have to bring another bottle. Okay, it's the same bottle. Now you leave this. Okay, and instead, when you leave this, what will happen? You come here. So what will happen? This will get inside. It will be pushed inside, and here what will happen? The volume decreases. When you pull it, the volume increases. Here, the volume decreases. So when the volume decreases, what will happen? The air inside it is at a higher pressure. Inside this, the air is at a higher pressure than outside. The density of air is high here and the pressure also is high here. The pressure outside is less. So air from here, it will be pushed out. Okay. So the air is pushed out from here. That is through the balloons, the air, because this is all packed up. So from any part of the bottle, plastic bottle, it will not go. The air will not go. So whatever air is there inside the balloon, which was here, the air is inside the balloon, that will be pushed out through this pipe outside. Okay, because the pressure outside is much less. Here the pressure is more and the air is pushed out. The diaphragm, it comes back to its normal condition. That is here, instead of the diaphragm, this is the rubber sheet which we have tied up over here. So this is the exhalation mechanism. So the breathing mechanism is represented through this model. So this is a model to represent the breathing mechanism which takes place in us 24 hours. Every minute around 16 to 18 times we are breathing in and out. So I hope you have understood this, children. Now to understand, another thing is that how much air you are able to breathe out at one go. Now in normal conditions it's very less, around 500 cc, cubic centimeter. In resting position, when you are in sleep or in resting position, 500, that is half liter of air is exchanged. Now the tidal volume in an adult human being is around 5 liters. When the lungs are completely inflated, tidal volume of the human body of an adult is around 5 liters. Okay. Now when you do exercise, 3 liters more you can adjust. The capacity of the lungs is there. Normally when you are sleeping, only 500 cubic centimeter or half liters of air is going in and out. And when you are in exercise, 3 liters more. Now, so how much is left? 3 liters and half liter, 3.5. So total lung capacity is how much? 5 liters. So 1.5 liter is the residual volume of our lungs. That is how much we try to breathe out. 1.5 liters of air remains in our lungs always. It will not come out. So this is required by our bodies so that the oxygen which is there will diffuse properly through the capillaries and through the blood circulatory system. It will get removed or get circulated to different parts of the body. At the same time, carbon dioxide also from different parts of the body, it will come through the blood and it will get collected in the lungs and then it will diffuse out or exhaled out during exhalation process. Now during exercise, what happens? That our breathing rate increases. It becomes around 25 to 30 times. But normally it is 16 to 18 times. And during exhalation, that is during exercise, deep thorough exercise or running, jumping, etc., So the breathing rate increases. That is 25 to 30 times, just now I told you. And during this process, when this happens, more oxygen is required by our bodies. And so we keep breathing more and more. And at the same time, what will happen? Carbon dioxide also has to get diffused out from our different body parts, okay, and come back to the lungs to get diffused out. But what happens? That this carbon dioxide, initially it goes to the brain and it inhibits the brain for increasing the breathing rate, and thus our breathing rate increases and carbon dioxide is exhaled out and more oxygen is taken in, and so we remain healthy. That is, shortage of oxygen doesn't take place. Now, regarding the respiratory system which you have learned, there are several diseases, infections which come up if you are not careful, not taking care of yourself, okay, properly, okay. Now, there are certain infections which takes place, okay. Now, if there is a throat infection, so here throat infection, if it takes place, it is called pharyngitis, or infection of the pharynx is called pharyngitis. Now, voice box or the larynx, when the voice box or the larynx get infected, the term is known as laryngitis. Okay? Now, and when the windpipe or the trachea, it gets infected, it is called tracheitis. And when the bronchus and the bronchioles, here just now I told you that this is the bronchus and this is the bronchioles, this model is representing that. So, if they get infected, then the term is known as bronchitis. And if there is infection in the lungs due to collection of water, etc., it is called pneumonia. It's very dangerous. A person can die also. Now, there are other diseases also relating respiration. Other diseases, some common ones, some of them I've mentioned over here. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is also represented by COPD. So here, exhaling becomes difficult for the patient and the patient develops this disease. Chronic bronchitis is also a form of this when a lot of cough collects in our bronchus. Asthma, due to certain pollution or certain allergies, etc., the airways, the air passages, they get inflamed, that is swollen up. The passages get swollen up. So there is less space for the air to go in and come out. So the person develops a condition called asthma. Then emphysema is air is trapped inside the lungs and it is not able to come out. Exhaling becomes difficult. So that condition is known as, or that disease is known as emphysema. Then acute bronchitis, in which the airways, they have an infection due to a certain virus. Then cystic fibrosis, this is generally a genetic condition, and mucus collects in our alveolus and it is not able to get removed from time to time. So that obstructs in the exchange of gases and the person gets this cystic fibrosis. Pneumonia, in pneumonia what happens, that in the alveoli a lot of water collects. When water collects in the alveoli, a person gets pneumonia, and then what happens that he cannot breathe out. There is shortage of breath because exchange of gases is not able to take place because all the capillaries, they get jammed up because water is there and oxygen exchange is not taking place. So the person gets this pneumonia. Now tuberculosis happens due to a certain bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So due to this bacteria, we get tuberculosis. Because of a prolonged period of pneumonia, a person can get tuberculosis. So quick treatment is required, otherwise it might become fatal for the person. Now one thing more, like if you want to know how much is your exhaling air, how much of air you have exhaled after an exercise or when you are in normal condition, you can have this experiment. You can perform this experiment here in this book. It is given over here. So you can perform this experiment and find that out. So for that you have to take a 3-liter plastic bottle, a trough of water, 3/4 full of water. You have to invert the bottle like this. You have to calibrate the bottle and you have to cork it, pack it up. The bottle should be airtight with a hole inside and a tube should be able to pass through the cork inside into the bottle. The bottle should be full of water. And then you blow out air through your mouth. And when you blow out air, how much air you have, you are able to blow. You blow it out completely and it will displace the water from the bottle. And how much it will displace, that will give you the amount of your exhaled air. Have you understood, children? So you can do this experiment in your house also and find out how much you are able to breathe out. So this completes your respiratory system chapter. So that's all for today, children. Thank you. Work hard, prepare for your forthcoming examination nicely. All the best.